So many people out there are not aware of the cultural nuances that shape our lives from childhood, from the time that we're born until we become adults. Who we hang out with, how we dress, how we talk, our hairstyle, everything that makes us who we are, our families, our friends, the schools we go to, where we work, how we think politically, how we think on a religious level or lack of religion. All of these are not necessarily our choice. It's how we're grown up in the ecosystem, in the world that we're grown up in. Alcohol use disorder is actually a big part of that. In fact, 50% of the reasons why people become alcohol dependent or suffer from alcohol use disorder is because of the family culture, the normalcy of drinking. They grew up in a culture where their parents drank, friends, grandparents, siblings, cousins, the environment. It's normalized to drink. You're weird if you don't drink. That can be on a personal level, and then you can a regional level, a state level, and a country identifying level. I mean, how many countries do we think of? You spew off the name of the country, and you think that country drinks. I can name a few. It's a big part of it. I mean, Germany, Ireland, Russia, United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, mostly European countries. Culture has a big, big part of the reasons why there are alcoholic struggles and dependence on alcohol in these cultural environments. And again, I have a complete coaching program that's designed for both the alcoholic and the family members because it's truly a family disease. No one is an island amongst themselves. Click on the link in the link tree on this page, set up a breakthrough call. It takes about 45 minutes or so. We're going to do a deep dive into what's going on with you and your family. Then I'll go over the program with you. The call is free. The course is definitely not. But I'm looking for people who are committed to change their life and the life of their family. So the point is this: when someone says alcohol is a choice, even the first drink is a choice. And honestly, I would have to disagree with that. Even that first drink that you took when you were 16 or 17 or younger, or 20 or 22, that wasn't necessarily your choice 100%, because the people around you were drinking and they said, hey, have one with us. We're having a party. You're joining us. Or your parents drank, so it was normalized. It was part of becoming an adult. It was your rite of passage to drink. That was your first drink. Was it really your choice? I mean, did you actually go to the store, buy a bottle of something, take it home and drink it? No, you didn't. Somebody handed it to you probably and said, join us. So that's how much a choice it is, because it's culturally acceptable and culturally normalized. This is how it starts. Just like any culture that we grow up in, okay? Politically, somebody who grew up in Missouri, Mississippi, Alabama, they are culturally, politically different than someone who lives in Seattle, Washington, or San Francisco, California, or New York City. Somebody from North or South Dakota is politically different than somebody from Southern California, or somebody from, say, Kennebunkport, Maine. Okay, there's going to be very differences, and our ideas are shaped by the areas that we grow up in and the influences and the people in our life. Is it a choice? Not 100%. It's never 100% your choice, and that's really the point. Now, do we have free will? Of course we have free will. The thing is, we're not robots, okay? We're not cyborgs. We're still going to be influenced by the people, places, and things that we surround ourselves with in these areas that we were raised in. We can be manipulated into going towards a certain direction. Everyone does not have the ability of self-awareness until they get older. Certainly when you're in the teenage years, when you're having all these influences thrown at you, when drugs and alcohol are readily available in many, many circles, certainly on the college level and high school level, and even earlier than that. It's important to realize and understand so much of what we do is to placate the people around us sometimes. Is that a choice? Not necessarily, but we're human beings and it's not always a choice. What I'm saying is it's not that simple, because there can also be a hereditary disposition on top of family culture. Throw in a little bit of trauma, sprinkle in some peer pressure, and you've got the makings of an alcoholic. So whenever I talk to somebody on social media that has a certain attitude, or even clients, and they'll say, well, it's the person's choice, it's always their choice. They've made bad choices their whole life. They're a bad person, they're a bad character, and they've just ruined their life and the life of everybody around them. But that's not necessarily the case. And when you're talking to somebody who is not willing to open up and to understand that there's so many different nuances of why someone goes down this road, and you're dealing with somebody who's really reactionary, they're dealing with all the ugliness which comes with alcohol. I mean, if you know my story, I was married for 25 years and my wife succumbed to the disease, and just all the craziness that you have to deal with. The bodily fluids, the car accidents, the DUIs, the constant first responders at your house because they're detoxing, and just the constant drama that goes on when you have an alcoholic in the family. Okay, but that all started from somewhere. Being able to break it down and to realize that that person in your life, ultimately, they're mentally disabled. Okay, but you have to understand how it started. And you can't get to sobriety until you understand the origins of why somebody went down that road. Blaming somebody, being reactionary isn't going to help you as a family member, and it's definitely not going to help the alcoholic in your family. And I know this is difficult, especially coming from the standpoint of a family member. Okay, the word empathy is not the first choice for family members. More like anger, frustration, anxiety, and animosity. Those are the words that family will associate with when they're dealing with the alcoholic in their family. When in reality, and a lot of times, empathy, understanding, and perspective is what needs to take place for the alcoholic in their family to realize that they need help, and for the family to realize that they need help as well. Things like Al-Anon, and for the family to realize, they didn't create this problem. They're not going to solve it either. But they can be reactive, and understand their reactionary emotions is a big part of it. But where it comes from largely, for many people, it's culturally started. Now, the stress, the anxiety, the depression, and the repressed emotions that create alcohol use disorder, that's another story. But so much of it comes from cultural reasonings and the accessibility of the alcohol to begin with. And I hope that makes sense. And again, if you want to understand how alcohol use disorder affects the family, you can read the memoir of my wife and my family, Amanda, A Cautionary Tale of Alcoholism. The hard copy you can find right on this page, and go to the link tree. You can find it on my website. It's also available hard copy on Amazon, and the link for the international link, which makes it available anywhere in the world. Ebook is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and the Apple website. And again, thanks for listening.